Lindsey Graham's attempt recently to endear himself to the American-Israeli lobby has failed in a spectacular and embarrassing fashion. Here's what he said to the Wall Street Journal recently when talking about the possibility that he might run for the presidency. "If I put together a finance team that will make me financially competitive enough to stay in this thing, I may have the first all-Jewish cabinet in America because of the pro-Israel funding," Graham reportedly said, chuckling. Then eventually he was asked to sort of clarify what he meant there. He said, "Bottom line is I've got a lot of support from the pro-Israel funding." But I think many people might see that as just a teensy bit anti-Semitic there.
Yeah, it could be, you know? And it's really baldly to me saying that it's a pay-to-play thing. Oh, if you give me enough money, I will do exactly what you want. Not that we didn't already know that that was what was going on, but at least he's coming right out and saying it this time instead of deny, 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 which is what you normally get. Yeah, if you pay the money to his presidential campaign, he's saying right there, he will do what you want. He'll be, I don't want to say it.
What's that?
Bitch.
He'll be your bitch. And not for that much money either. Yeah, I don't even know which, I want to talk about the anti-Semitic angle, but I also want to talk about, there's the two angles on the money. There's the one where he's sort of revealing how inherently corrupt the system is, that even he, who's been in politics for quite a while, the only chance he has of running is if he gathers a huge amount of money in his war chest. But also that he's sort of being honest that the only way he could run is to generate all this money.
Enough money. And obviously, again, we know that this is the case. This is obviously the way that our system is run right now. And gosh, it's going to be extremely hard to change it. You have to actually get involved in groups that are fighting against money in politics. And I'm trying to think, who could that be? Who can we possibly think of that might be doing that?
Do some research. Go to wolf-pack.com. Maybe you'll find out about the group there.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying that I want Lindsey Graham to be able to run more easily, but it shouldn't be the case that you have to raise literally hundreds of millions of dollars or appeal to the sorts of rich lunatics like the Koch brothers who are expected to raise $889 million in this next cycle, which, by the way, that seems like an oddly specific amount of money. You can just say around $900 million.
I know. Why don't you just say $1 billion, you know? A billion here, $1 billion
there. $1 billion. And that's just one group of super PACs. And we found out recently that it's expected that they might be supporting Scott Walker, a man who has almost nothing apparently going for him aside from $1 billion, which is, you know, that's nice to have that money.
He must be perfect for them because if he doesn't have a whole lot going, then all they have to do is give him a lot of money and say, this is what we want. Yes, and they don't like unions either. So he will, of course, be their bitch, too.
Now, with Lindsey Graham specifically, I think that considering that we've seen recently, there's been some research that support for American I don't think specifically, some money is coming in obviously from overseas, but for American Jews, I think that traditionally they do tend to vote more towards Democrats. Historically. You're seeing a little bit of that change recently because I think the Republicans have been very successful in painting Barack Obama as being anti-Israeli, despite the fact that I think largely he's been pretty deferential in terms of settlement construction, things of that sort. Of course, him being willing to make some sort of deal with Iran over their nuclear program is not going to endear him to some traditionally very hardcore supporters of Israeli foreign policy. But I do have a problem with some of the reporting on this story specifically. So he says in that line, he's got a lot of support from the pro-Israel funding. He can put whatever spin he wants on it, calling it specifically pro-Israeli. But the source that we're referring to when we talk about this is from Talking Points Memo. They are reposting something from Loeb blog. I don't know who had it originally, but they, in their editorializing, are talking about a recent surge of pro-Israel donations within the GOP. There is not one sort of funding that is pro-Israel. I would argue that the other side considers themselves quite pro-Israel in trying to avoid a war between Israel and Iran. So fight the temptation to go with the spin, the framing that they have, that there is only one way to support Israel's future, and that is giving them money to encourage possible military action against Iran. That's ridiculous when Lindsey Graham says it. It's ridiculous when other blogs parrot it without any second thought or critical thinking whatsoever.